Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for your patience. As we get into the TWAB, we got a great show for you today. Good to see ya. Big TWAB today. So I hope you're all doing fantastic. Thanks for waiting and chilling out. We're going to get rolling right away. So a big TWAB to talk about today. Your chat will be up here. I'll answer all questions here in just a second. Know that your questions may be delayed just a little bit, but we're going to go through this and get rolling. This week at Bungie, a lot going on. If you guys didn't know, Sony acquired them. I'm going to basically go through it a little bit quicker. The big thing that you guys are here for are the weapons changes, the Enclave preview, a lot of stuff to talk about, everybody. So good to see you all. Thanks so much for stopping on in. The big stuff that they've got going on in this introduction is the fact that Sony and Bungie are now partnered together. PlayStation owns Bungie, so that's what's going on. That's the big piece here. Plus, there is 1 million pre-orders for the Witch Queen, which is just absolutely insane. So absolutely nuts. I think this is going to be one of the biggest moments in Destiny history as possible. And of course, they did a weapons and gear trailer that if you have not seen, make sure that you check that out. We're not going to be watching that live on stream again. We're here for the info and to make sure that you guys know what is going on. You may have noticed that there was a little quick glimpse into weapon crafting at the top of that video. Well, let's take a moment to walk through it. No, not just the video, but crafting as a feature. We're going to get into the digging into the nitty gritty of Sandbox balance patch notes in a quick preview. There is a lot of stuff to dig into here, chat. There's a lot of stuff. So let's get into it together. Welcome to the Enclave, which is what they're going to be calling the area where you craft weapons. Savathun is building an army of Hive. They aren't just ordinary Hive, mind you. They become the Lucent Brood. How could this happen? What will the Vanguard do as we begin to question the line between the light and the dark? We'll begin to unravel the mystery and battle the Witch Queen's brood, and you'll discover the Enclave. This will be your destination for weapon crafting. Crafting a legendary weapon from scratch isn't a simple matter. Finding patterns are what they are calling the weapon blueprints. Collecting materials and building your weapon is the starting point. After crafting your tool of destruction, you'll begin to unlock its full potential through combat. I'm going to zoom in here so you folks can all see what's going on here, because this is some really, really crazy huge details. All right, so here we go. Beginning your quest to craft. Early in the Witch Queen campaign, you'll be given an introductory quest that runs you through the ins and outs of... I'll go back to here. The ins and outs of crafting. In the first and second missions of the Witch Queen, free to all players, Guardians will uncover the Deepsight ability and be introduced to the Enclave. This is where you'll begin to shape your first glaive, a brand new weapon archetype being introduced in the Witch Queen. I don't know if these are supposed to be pictures, but I bet that's what they are supposed to be. Right now, I'm not seeing anything, so we'll just have to kind of keep going with it, okay? No big deal. We'll just keep rolling with it. I'll probably try to refresh this a couple of times just so that you can all see what's going on. This is where you'll begin to shape your first glaive, a brand new weapon archetype just being introduced in the Witch Queen. All of the necessary materials will be provided for your first crafted weapon, but you'll also be given a short tutorial on how to find the materials for future crafting. A subset of weapons and archetype will be craftable from the start, but more will be added in the future. In order to shape your tools of destruction, you need to do a little bit of research first. Patterns are the first requirement. Some will be acquired through quest completions, while others can be earned by completing various gameplay objectives. Once you've earned your desired pattern, it can be crafted at any time with the required materials. Now it's all about the mixings. After reaching the Enclave and crafting your first glaive, randomly rolled weapons throughout the game have a chance to drop with a new ability, Deepsight Resonance. This will be used as you begin to target specific traits to craft. As an example, if you find a Deepsight Resonance legendary auto rifle with the Rampage perk, you can complete an objective and extract the essence of that perk to then craft a weapon with Rampage or another perk that increases damage. So that's actually really interesting. So a Guardian holding Deepsight Resonance weaponry noted by the red weapon borders. So the red weapon borders are going to mean that they have the Deepsight Resonance perk on them. I'm going to refresh this. I wonder if there's some data that is not here. Unfortunately, yeah, the pictures are not hitting right now. They're definitely, there we go. The pictures are loaded in now. So we've got our image of the glaive, that the glaives that our guardians are holding, and then this is what they're calling the Enclave. Okay, so then you'll be able to craft your first weapon here. So here are the Deepsight resonance perks here. So you can see that there are the perks here plus this item here, which is going to be the things that we're going to be looking for. So when you see a weapon like it, you're going to see this weapon possesses a resonance detectable by your Deepsight ability. Use this weapon in combat or to complete activities in order to attune to this resonance and extract materials useful for shaping weapons. So you kind of have to use a weapon before you can use the actual combat piece with it, which is interesting. So Deepsight resonance with no progress, essence ready to be attuned through combat. So you basically have to use it before you get rid of it. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. Like current weapons, not every weapon pattern will be compatible, but you'll have to go through a good list of traits to mix and match as you customize a given weapon to your desired specifications. It doesn't stop there, though. Through the Enclave, you'll be able to kick things up a notch and enhance your traits to strengthen your flavor. So, once a weapon is crafted, Guardians may begin to increase its level by using it in activities and by defeating enemies. That's very similar to what they did in Destiny 1. This is where the bulk of your crafting playtime will be. The more you use your weapon, the faster you'll unlock its potential. Enhanced stats and traits can be unlocked when reaching higher levels, granting slight bonuses to your weapon's capabilities. That's very interesting. Our goal through this system is to give players a reason to invest in their weapons far beyond what masterworking could offer in the past. Each weapon can now act as a long-tail pursuit as you look to make your freshly crafted weapon the best it can be. So here you can see that there's some nice, we've got impact, range, stability, handling. You can see that all in one piece. This is very, very nice. I like that a lot, being able to control it. But again, I'm going to save most of the hot takes for afterwards. It can be intimidating to start making decisions on how you build your weapons. So we're giving you the ability to reshape your crafted weapons in the Enclave if you want to mix up the components of the weapons after you are finished crafting them. You can switch up what barrel, mags, or traits you choose so you don't feel like you have got down to one path forever. So there's shape a new weapon, reshape, or modify an existing weapon. As Guardians begin to embrace this system, you'll begin to see new legends rise. Some will prefer Haka, and other foundries, others may dabble in new weapons from Redacted. So that's probably going to be the Season 16 weapons. We're excited to see what weapons you embrace. With the majority of your crafting experience will be dedicated to mixing, matching, and enhancing traits, there is also an opportunity for a bit of customization when it comes to appearances and activity-specific trackers. At launch, one weapon memento will become available for players to earn through Gambit, unlocking a Gambit-themed appearance and tracker. Hint there. Rank up your weapon to max level, head back to the Enclave and apply your freshly earned momentum for some sweet flair. More of these will come online through Trials of Osiris and Grandmaster Nightfalls. We have plans for mementos down the line and are excited to introduce a new endgame rarity cosmetic item for players to chase as they build out their new arsenal of weaponry. Interesting. Exotic crafting. Legendary weapons are not the only weapons that you're going to be able to craft. That is insane. The upcoming Osteo Striga exotic SMG and 3 class unique exotic glaives can also be crafted through the Enclave once you find their respective patterns, of course. So there are the 3 Enclave pieces that they've been talking about. Pretty excited about that. Yeah. Pretty excited about that, chat. While legendary weapons can be crafted from the ground up, exotic crafting is more about fine-tuning something with a defined identity. You may have the opportunity to customize things like barrels or stocks while preserving the exotic look and feel. Looking for a longer range profile for the weapon or opting to shred through your enemies up close and personal. Through the Enclave, you can do just that. All right, folks, that's the end of the weapon crafting preview. Will you have questions? A ton. Launch day is just around the corner, and we're excited to see what weapons you create. So we're going to definitely go back to that section once we're done, chat, but I want to read through everything first to give everyone the takes, especially because I know YouTube, I know a lot of people really just want to see, hey, what's going on? All the updates. This opening section paragraph here is just basically introducing the weapons feature lead Proctor, plus a whole bunch of stuff that is going to be coming in the Destiny Sandbox, but we're going to go right into the details. When Pinnacle weapons were introduced, this is the first thing that they're going to be talking about. They were tuned and presented as being best in class weapons to act as rewards for players dedicated to a particular activity. They excited and motivated players, but they were expensive to build for legendary weapons. And when they say build, they mean from a gaming development standpoint, not necessarily like expensive to you. Such as PvP Pinnacle weapons becoming mandatory in PvE like Recluse and Mountaintop, or becoming incredibly unpleasant to play against, or so strong that no other weapons in that class could compete with them in PvP. When we moved away from Pinnacle weapons, we didn't go into much detail, so we'd like to take a moment to clarify the move and also introduce the Pursuit weapon for next season. The intent as of Season 12 is that a Pursuit weapon should be a solid weapon, 70% of a god roll in its archetype, and with perk options that work well in PvP and PvE, which can be reliably obtained without a huge grind. These should act as a good starter weapon for PvE and PvP, while leaving space for weapons from Pinnacle activities like Trials, Raids, and Nightfalls to exceed this potential. We generally ship a similar weapon with higher potential in the same season. They talk about Salvager's Salvo as being kind of an exception to the rule, but we're going to move on past that. Here's a quick breakdown of how each Pursuit weapon since Season 12 compares to randomly rolled options. Adored is a good sniper rifle, but there are better sniper rifles shipped along since. The Salvager's Salvo Breach Grenade Launcher is a great room-clearing weapon, but it doesn't have the utility of blinding grenades or auto-loading holster, such as other grenade launchers. No Composure is an excellent fusion rifle, and brought back the Reservoir Burst, but Plug 1 and Glaciocasm can also get Reservoir Burst, and Cartesian Coordinate has better DPS. The Ascendancy Rocket Launcher brought back the Explosive Light perk, but Hothead can also get this, and it has other good perk options. And with that, we're going to be getting a shotgun for the next season's Pursuit weapon. This weapon is coming in Season 16 and introduces the new Steady Hands perk for handling boost after a kill plus snapshot. So that's going to be a really nice shotgun, especially for PvP. But it says that there are several other shotguns in the release with more sought after PvP and PvE perks. Origin traits. We've been talking about the difficulty of making different weapons of the same type feel unique for years at this point, and in the Witch Queen, we're doing something about it. Every weapon that's new or returning in the Witch Queen will have an origin trait determined by its source in a third trait column, including all legendary weapons and all returning Trials, Iron Banner, and Nightfall weapons. Origin traits will only appear on new drops of the weapon. They won't retroactively be added to old drops. We're going to talk about that. These traits vary in effect, but the guideline is that they either have a high uptime and medium power effects or a low uptime and high power level. There are 14 origin traits in total shipping for the Witch Queen in Season 16, and we expect to ship about 3 more season after season after season. For example, 1 for Season 17, 1 for the raid or dungeon, and 1 for the seasonal event until we have 1 for each event. When we refresh your weapons from a given source, we may create a new origin trait at that time. So here are some examples of the new traits, the new origin traits, and specifically where they come from. Trials of Osiris is going to get Alacrity. Gain increased reload, stability, aim assist, and range when you are the last living member of your fire team or running solo. Very interesting. Plus 20 reload, plus 20 stability, plus 10 aim assist, plus 10 range. Solo includes solo lost sectors and rumble. That excites me as someone who makes a lot of solo preparatory content. Nightfall Strikes. Stunning recovery. Stunning a champion partially refills your magazine, triggers health generation, and improves recovery for a short duration. So you get 60 health instantly and 40 recovery for 3 seconds. In the Crucible, you get 1 quiet moment. Grants increased reload speed when out of combat, plus 40 reload stat when out of combat when you haven't dealt or received damage. So that's very interesting. Will be pretty solid in Crucible. And then strikes, we've got Vanguard's Vindication. Final blows with this weapon grant a small amount of health. Small is just 7 health. Anytime it makes sense, due to a source activity, a weapon will have multiple origin traits selectable. For example, Nightfall weapons can select between the Nightfall and the Vanguard traits. Trials of Osiris weapons can select between the Trials and Crucible traits, and the Pursuit weapon can select between all 3 Gambit, Vanguard, and Crucible, since it can be acquired from any of those activities. That's very cool. It will give all of the guns a different type of unique identity. We're going to keep on moving. So there's going to be the return of weapon foundries. If you guys don't know, there's Haka, there's Tex Mechanica, some really great weapon foundries. That's very much baked into the design of your weapons. So very interesting. Goes through a little story here. I'm going to let you read that on your own so we can keep on moving. So in Season 16, we're replacing the old world loot pool with 12 new weapons in the style of the Destiny 2 Year 1 Foundry weapon sets. 3 weapons, each from Suros, Amalon, Haka, and Viced foundries, plus 1 foundry weapon each for Vanguard, Gambit, and Crucible. That is super exciting. So we're going to see the return of a lot of these really good weapons from Destiny Year 1. I'm excited for that. Keep it on moving. Each weapon will come with a foundry origin trait themed around that foundry's personality. Suros Synergy. Reloading grants this weapon bonus handling and reduces incoming flinch for a short time. So when you're using that plus 40, then 20% flinch resistance for 6 seconds after reloading. Haka, they have a thing called Breach Armaments. This weapon deals increased damage against vehicles, turrets, barricades, and stasis crystals. Very interesting. Turrets includes stasis turrets, plus 15 to vehicles and plus 30 to structures and turrets. That vehicles is very interesting. Amalon, you're going to have Amalon Fluid Dynamics. This weapon has increased reload speed and stability for the top half of the magazine. Stability, you're going to get max of 20, reload of max of 30, reduces as the magazine gets lower. So Amalon is like your hung jury archetype of weapon. Very cool. And then Viced, which is a fairly new foundry, at least to most of the Destiny universe. The Viced Stinger, chance on damage to partially refill this weapon's magazine. In addition to the Foundry origin trait, each Foundry weapon's perks pool lean into that Foundry's identity. Big damage for Haka, consistency for Suros, and ability ties in and weird stuff for Amalon. Never stop firing for Viced. So, Foundry weapons that drop from a source aside from the world pool can switch between the Foundry trait and that source's trait. So there's a lot of different ways to get this weapon. So we've got an upcoming Vanguard shotgun, a Crucible hand cannon, and a Gambit auto rifle. For example, a roll on a new Gambit Haka high impact auto rifle, the Herod C, might look like this. So they go through a list of perks here. Corkscrew rifling or polygonal rifling, armor piercing rounds, flared magwell, perpetual motion, focus fire, invader tracker, which is apparently a Gambit origin trait. Very cool. Haka breach ornaments, that's going to be able to switch between those two, and then kill tracker. We're still going through more perks and stuff like that. This is just absolutely insane. Again, I'm going to go through all the details so that those folks who are here specifically for the details can go through. And again, I'll answer all your questions after we're done, chat, okay? We know we haven't brought back all of your favorite Foundry weapons types, but don't worry. You can expect to see new weapon foundries receive new additions each season for the year following the Witch Queen, with some fun surprises throwing in later in the year. All right, this is where the fun begins. The rest of this section is going to see more of like a patch notes preview. Lots of bullets, not a lot of pictures. So, a lot of stuff. Feel free to grab a snack, a drink. Okay, here we go. A lot of stuff to talk about, chat. So if I need to cough or do something like that, I'll try to do it pretty quickly. Kill trackers were once one reason to masterwork a weapon, but we now see no reason to gate these behind masterworking. They'll be present by default on all weapons that shipped in Forsaken and later. Yes, this means masterworking should no longer be seen as mandatory, and we expect the plus 10 to a weapon stat to only matter to dedicated PvP players. There's a lot of them out there that will be important. We have no specific plans for changes to masterworking at this stage, but we will revisit it later. Note that we did discuss gating the origin trait behind masterworking, but ultimately this wouldn't have achieved the goal of weapon differentiation from non-masterwork weapons. Following in the armor team's footsteps, weapon mods for legendary weapons are now free and instant to reinsert. Awesome. We believe that many pain points around special weapons in Crucible are exacerbated by how easy it is to currently acquire special ammo. And while we've touched on this in the past, we're making a further adjustment now. Players now only drop one special ammo on death or the equivalent, no matter how much they were carrying, as long as they weren't completely empty. The maximum you can pick off of a special brick is one for a shotgun, one for a fusion rifle, one for a sniper rifle, or equivalent for other weapons. Scavenger mods add to this as normal, but will be evaluating their place in the Crucible in the future. Players quickly found another way to execute the quick swap glitch, so we fixed another animation cancel. We're going to be going through the archetype changes. The Season 15 fusion rifle rework had a lot of moving parts. Rapid fire, precision, and adaptive fusions came all out of this. Quite different, but all quite strong. But high impact fusions are hurting. We've definitely seen all fusion rifle subfamilies occupy different roles and want to maintain the large differences in charge time to keep these distinct for now. So we're nudging damage up to make it easier for these to land kills at range in PvP, and we're bumping the PvE damage scaler. That said, we'll keep an eye on how things are doing and may adjust charge time down a smidge. Increased high impact fusion rifle damage per bolt from 62 to 64. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it allows more rolls to cross bolts to kill thresholds. So when you shoot a fusion rifle, you're not just shooting one blast, you're shooting bolts, almost like little energy projectiles, and the more you hit them, the more damage you do. So it's good to know that. We like that the crowd control capabilities of breach grenade launchers in PvE have taken off, but as it stands, there isn't a meaningful trade-off for the added utility that blinding or concussion grenades give you. And it's unreasonable that a way to really annoy other players in PvP can also one-shot them. So they've reduced blinding and concussion grenade damage by 25%. That's mainly going to be a PvP change, not PvE. Rocket launcher subfamilies have lacked meaningful difference for a while now, and their free tracking precisions are just flat out better. So we're pushing them further apart by adjusting damage. We may take a deeper look at rocket launchers later. So they've increased and messed with a couple of the subfamilies of rocket launchers. Precision's 0.95 times, so that's actually going to be a little bit of a nerf. High impact is staying exactly the same. Adaptive and aggressive are slowly getting bumped up just a little bit. We took a big swing at sniper rifle aim assist based on the zoom in Beyond Light, and having seen this play out, we are revisiting the tuning on zoom-based aim assist scaling. Low zoom snipers got more of an aim assist reduction than they needed, and some high zoom snipers are getting some pretty silly headshots right now. Reduced variance in AA scaling, that's aim assist, between low and high zoom sniper rifles. So long story short, they're going to make it so that the lower impact sniper rifles have a little bit more aim assist. Even if you're on mouse and keyboard, there's a little aim assist in everything that you do. If you didn't know that, now you know. And on the higher zoom sniper rifles, they've reduced it. So basically, it's going to be a little bit easier for those people who are using higher zoom sniper rifles versus those people who are using lower zoom sniper rifles. So you have to take a look at the scope that you're looking through, and that will give you a little bit of a buff there. Pulse rifles take slightly too longer to kill red bar enemies in PvE, so they're buffing the damage versus miners by 10%. But if you want exotic pulse rifles to be better at this, oh boy, keep reading. Okay, so now we're getting into exotic weapons changes. Exotic primary weapons and trace rifles aren't sufficiently stronger than legendaries for them to be worth bringing into hard PvE content, that's for sure. Particularly against miners. Note that this change applies to all exotics that use primary ammo and includes most secondary effects. They've increased damage versus miners in PvE by 40%. 40% in PvE against miners. That's huge. Moving on. Chaperone is a terror in PvP. We told them that. Particularly with the nerf to pellet shotguns and their reduced frequency of grenade and melee abilities, and it outperforms some weapons that ought to be good counters to it, for example, sidearms and SMGs. So they've reduced the passive range buff from 2 meters to 0.5. Duality is in a similar place to Chaperone, but it's not quite as rangy. On the other hand, its exotic trait shipped with the constraint that it would wipe on reload to make it harder to chain. Having seen it in action for a while now, we don't think that limitation needs to be there. So they've reduced the passive range buff in slug mode, aka when you aim down the sights, from 1.25 meters to 0.5. So in other words, Chaperone, Duality getting a nerf. But Duality has a thing called on black wings. The damage buff, it no longer clears on the reload. Teraba is extremely strong as it is, but it currently demands complete commitment with no weapon switching, which is true. This constraint is a bit harsher than it needs to be, so we've loosened it without removing it entirely. Also, while the duration extension when damaging players did actually function in PvP, it was so subtle that players kept reporting that it was bugged, so we bumped it up. Now it reduces the perk progress by half instead of clearing it on weapon stow. An increased Ravenous Beast duration increases for damaging a player slightly. Teraba is going to be absolutely insane, chat. Ruinous Effigy, which was one of the Season of Arrivals exotics, has been overdue for a look at its Beyond Light nerf. So we're rolling that back. Note that the other part of that nerf was to airborne standard melee attack, and this hasn't been touched. They've increased the damage dealt by the Guardian with a transmutation sphere by 66%. So that's the sphere that you pick up after you kill an enemy. Once you pick up that sphere, when you guard, they're going to increase that damage by 66%, 30% against other players. Transmutation sphere multi-kills now count for orb generation armor mods. Previously, only kills with the beam would trigger this. Luminous stats just don't compare with 140 RPM adaptive hand cannons, so think like your Fatebringers, your Palindromes. And its usage reflects that, so we're updating these along some of the legendary hand cannons that also used to be 150. So they've increased Lumina's range stat to 59 from 44. They've increased the base stability stat from 46 to 56. Thorn fans, if they buffed you, Thorn is already strong and popular, and a similar buff would turn it into a monster in PvP. It looks like they're going to leave that alone. Aegir's Scepter, which is the trace rifle that you can get from the Tracing the Stars questline in Season of the Lost, used super regeneration scalars, which had a very weird effect in activities that also had scalars. So we've rebuilt it to turn off regeneration while active and implemented a slower drain using a different method. So long story short, they fixed being able to activate or continue using Empower mode while suppressed or stasis in case. So if someone freezes you, you won't be able to basically keep using that perk. They've also rebuilt the perk. It's used to modify the Supercharge Rage. It now freezes Super Recharge and deducts Super directly. So basically there were some issues with how the Super Recharge and how it was being taken when you used the exotic perk on it. Super should now drain more slowly while empowered. Okay, here we go, folks. This is one of the reasons why I have not made a video yet on what weapons to pick up before Witch Queen, because I knew something like this was coming. So I'm going to have a video, guys, out for you. So make sure you get subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single thing. Dead Man's Tale feels good to use on both mouse and keyboard and controller now, and we don't want to go back to it feeling unreliable, but it's far too good at spamming hipfire shots at long range as it stands. They've reduced the catalyst's hipfire rate of fire from 150 RPM to 130. So in other words, it's going to basically be underneath a 140 hand cannon when you're hip firing. So now it's going to fire more like a scout rifle versus like basically a very fast hand cannon. Lorentz Driver and Arbalist remain fairly hard to counter in PvP. One common complaint is how easily they can shoot through flinch, We'll be keeping an eye on those moving forward and have an additional change planned if needed. So they've increased the flinch received when you are getting shot while using Lorentz driver. One of the reasons Lorentz driver is so strong is its particular aim assist, especially on controller on higher frame rates. So that's probably the additional change that they're talking about, but I think they want to see what's going on with the increased flinch. Forerunner's ammo economy. Forerunner is the sidearm from the 30th anniversary edition that you get from doing the Dares of Eternity. Was fairly conservative when we shipped the 30th anniversary, but having seen now how it's being used in PvP, we believe it would be benefiting from gaining a little bit more ammo per special brick. Increased ammo picked up from a special brick from 2 to 3. I think Forerunner is going to be a monster. Moving on. Okay, legendary weapons. Several legendary weapons have out-of-band stats, either to their benefit, detriment, or both. So here's what's going to be going on with a bunch of the weapons, specifically a couple of weapons here, plus archetypes. Hand cannons. The band for legendary hand cannon aim assist ends at 84. But when 150s were converted, many of their stats were either too high or too low because they basically just made a general family, like a nerf to 140, okay? They're going to be adjusting stats up and down with a couple of changes. So Dire Promise is going to have a little bit less aim assist, but an increase to range and stability. Waking Vigil, which is the hand cannon which you get from the Dreaming City, +6 range, +5 stability, -3 aim assist. Jack Queen King, +3 range, +3 stability, -8 aim assist. And Spare Rations. Who still has a Spare Rations, chat? +4 range, +4 stability, -9 aim assist. Are they going to come back is the real question. Is Spare Rations and Jack Queen King going to come back? Because I kind of feel like they're going to. Moving on. Felwinter's Lie's intrinsic perk makes it far too consistent and lethal compared to other shotguns, and it's had plenty of time to shine. So they're spreading out the pellet spread by 15%, or plus 15% spread angle. Most of the Ikelos SMG stats are wildly out of band for an aggressive SMG, but it does suffer from having a low zoom compared to other popular options. So this is the Ikelos SMG specifically. They're taking down the aim assist, they're taking down the handling, the stability, the range. They're giving it a little bit more zoom. So Ikelos SMG just went from being an absolute monster in PvP to meh. If you guys didn't know, that SMG just absolutely wrecks. It's really good. Typically, we don't adjust base stats on specific weapons at post-ship, so we don't intend to do this regularly. Okay, so now we have some changes specifically to perks in the legendary slot. We want weapons to be able to choose to build into hip firing more easily, so we're adjusting the hip fire grip perk. So now it increases the damage fall off start and end distances by 20%, except on shotguns, snipers, and fusion rifles. Probably to play into that whole idea of keeping hipfire more viable on a primary weapon. Adagio often felt like it changed a weapon's subfamily to the next slowest rate of fire, but worse, particularly when comparing damage fall off. So they've increased the duration of Adagio from 5 seconds to 7 seconds, increased the damage bonus except on bows and fusions from 25% to 30%, now adds +10 range stats, adds a timer to the buff to make it easier to tell when it's going to expire. They need to do that for as many buffs as they possibly can. If they can do that, that would be great. Dual loader is okay on paper, but in practice, that reload speed is pretty painful. They've reduced the reload stat from -50 to -35. So dual loader could be a little bit better, almost like an auto loading holster, but for two items, it just depends. Danger Zone felt pretty risky to use in some cases, resulting in a lot of self-damage. They've reduced the self-damage scalar for grenade launchers combined with other scalars, and it ends up reducing that damage from 1.25 to 0.75. So, Tap the Trigger is the meta-breaking perk on a particular fusion rifle. When stacked with other elements of this role, it makes fusion rifles much too stable, so we stopped putting that on fusion rifles, and then Squidface sold it a few times. He's talking specifically about main ingredient. With this change, we believe it's quite a strong perk without being overpowered, so it's likely to appear on future fusion rifles. We did try reducing stability from +40 to +20, but in playtests, the difference wasn't perceptible at all. So on fusion rifles, only tap the trigger. They've reduced stability from 40 to +10. So this is tap the trigger. So if you've been crutching on a main ingredient with tap the trigger. They've changed the max recoil angle scale from 0.5 to 0.875, changed the error angle scale from 0.9 to 0.975. So in other words, they're basically reducing the stability, but they're also changing how the recoil angle works. So like when you shoot your gun, it kicks up a little bit of recoil. That's basically the idea. So it's gonna kick a little bit more to make it a little bit less stable. But they've also changed the error of the angle scale as well. It made it just a little bit more unstable. It's completely unchanged on other perks. Headseeker didn't work as intended on aggressive burst pulse rifles. That's why I've never recommended them, because the buff's duration was too short. Sacred Providence is the only viable pulse rifle that benefits from this in Season 16. Although there is such a pulse in this season, it doesn't roll with Headseeker. But expect to see it more in future seasons, so they've increased the buff of Headseeker, wow, from 0.17 to 3 seconds. I knew this was coming, chat. I knew this was coming. I even said it last night while I was hanging out with a couple of friends. Let's talk about Eager Edge. It's a lot of fun to use, but it can be used to do some mind-blowing, environment-breaking things if used in particular ways while airborne. Remember, don't shoot the messenger, chat. Don't shoot the messenger. While the tuning below isn't meant to remove the fun factor, we have a fresh raid and other fun content coming with the Witch Queen, and we want to ensure we retain challenge behind our upcoming rewards. Breaking out of maps can be fun, but can easily remove the prestige and value of a given item or experience. Reduced the lunge distance benefit while airborne by 25%. And now caps maximum player airborne velocity to a fairly high value while active. Please don't unsub. I know. I'm just saying. I love it too. I'm just reading it. Okay. I'm just reading it, chat. Okay, we're moving on. Occasionally we'll shelve perks because they're not working for some reason. They're too strong or weak. This means we won't put them on new weapons in the future unless they change the perks. So they've basically done a bunch of changes, and there's a whole perk section here, and these perks are going to be shelved. So Bottomless Grief and Celerity, both were attempts to inject some uniqueness into Trials of Osiris and Nightfall weapons, and they're basically going to replace those now with the origin traits. So the origin traits on the weapons that they talked about earlier in the TWAB. Underdog, going away. Shield Disorient. Air Assault. Although they're saying they might bring back Air Assault. So Shield Disorient, Underdog, Bottomless Grief, and Celerity, they're all going to be shelved unless if they work on them again. So the idea is they're shelving those perks specifically so that they can give a little bit more breathing room for the origin traits on all the different weapons. Cool? Subbing so I can unsub. The near future. In Season 17, we'll have a set of PvP-focused weapon changes, including new ways for players to build for flinch resistance, balance tuning for primary weapons, looking at pulse rifles, lightweights in particular, special weapon tuning, snapshot feeling mandatory on sniper rifles in PvP, other balance changes, another PvP special ammo economy change if needed, adjusting how zoom outliers, both low and high, affect the performance of a subset of weapons, i.e. the scope column shouldn't be the most important thing about a weapon. They're talking specifically about snipers. They could take various forms, but the intent is to bring both of the outliers towards the average. We've also adjusted several much requested exotics along with legendary perks. That is a huge dynamic change to the game. We're going to keep going through everything, guys, and then we'll come and I'll answer any questions you might have or just kind of get your take in the community. But I want to keep going on for those folks who just want the details of the TWAB and they would want to move on. So they've got some cool perks here or some new items in the Eververse for folks who want to do the stuff for the Year of the Tiger. All right, the launch and preload, everything that you need to know. To prepare for the launch of the Witch Queen on February 22nd, Destiny 2 will undergo scheduled downtime from 7 PST. So that's going to be, if you're on the East Coast, that's going to be, let's see, 10 o'clock PST, or 10 o'clock Eastern time if you're in the States. Basically that entire night to February 22nd. So get your stuff done easily the day before it's supposed to launch. As this TWAB is running pretty long, we'll do the math for you. That's 14 hours of downtime. We hope you can use this to get some time to get some sleep, press some tasty food, or do whatever your heart desires before diving into Witch Queen. With the announcement of 1 million Guardians having already pre-ordered, we're also expecting a bit of a queue as things open up. So guys, a lot of people joke that when you take time off from work, some people like to take time off of work for a new expansion, which is great. You know, I did a couple of times. Take Wednesday off. Tuesday, it'll launch probably at about reset time, but the servers are going to be clogged. It's probably going to be 2 hours. This is the biggest launch we've had since Forsaken, right? So I think that this is going to be the most massive change. So I would just make sure maybe you can take an hour or two off at work. Again, I don't know your schedules, but that's just the recommendation I'm making. With the end of the season approaching, the Shattered Realm seasonal activity has been updated to a daily rotation from a weekly rotation. Players who wish to complete Triumph's seasonal challenges or seals associated with the Shattered Realm should make sure to do so before its removal with the launch of the Witch Queen on February 22nd. So now it says here, this past week, the next week in Destiny, login message incorrectly indicated that the Grandmaster Nightfall catch-up node had just become active. It's only active for those players who need to gild their seal for Conqueror. So year 4 content vaulting, all of that stuff's going to be unavailable to access. I'm going to have a video on going over all the things you need to do in a checklist in case if you need to get prepped. So make sure, again, you get subscribed for that. Weapons cycling. We've talked about this before. This is something that they tweeted out, but I'm going to make sure everyone knows here because not everyone is on the Bird app, Twitter. Not everyone's on Twitter. So Igneous Hammer from Trials of Osiris and Solace Scar from Trials are going to be basically shelved and cycled through. Nightfall, the Swarm, Shadow Price, Azumi, and Hung Jury are all going to be shelved. Iron Banner, the Multi-Max CCX, which is one of the best weapons you should pick up. Time Worn Spire, Guiding Sight, and Steady Hand from Iron Banner are all going to be there. Any rewards not claimed from the ritual vendors, Zavala, Shax, Drifter, and Saint 14 will be removed. So they are saying that weapons do not successfully attach to Phoenix Protocol when stowed. So that's kind of a little glitch that's been going on. Plus, it looks like we've got the artist in the movie of the week. We're going to go through a couple of things. Once again, a Mega TWAB is landed and you've read every word of it. Some of you may have had to skip, but that's why we went through it together. So you can rewatch this at any time. You can go through kind of these things. We can go through the hot takes and stuff like that at the end of this. All right. Of course, you're going to be maintaining a healthy lifestyle after February 22nd, right? There won't be any moments where you'll think, I'll do the dishes later, or hey, I guess I can just take the trash out next week while leveling up your brand new, freshly crafted weapons. They talk here specifically about a member of the community in Germany who passed away, Seraphim Crypto. Super nice, super awesome guy. Sending them much love. And yeah, so that is the TWAB, guys. A massive one. We're going to go back through it point by point. We're not going to make this too long. I just want to give everyone an opportunity to kind of field their questions so we can go through it, make this more of like a podcast type experience. But I want to get those details for everyone out so that you all knew and you had a way to listen to it, especially my YouTube community. I usually stream on Twitch, but I want to make sure I reach out to you folks on YouTube as well. So thanks everybody for stopping in. If you're going to leave now, I do appreciate it. Again, likes, comments, all that other stuff is really nice. Appreciate all you folks being here, but we're going to get to the questions and stuff now and take your messages in chat. I think that this is going to be awesome. My hot take is anything that you can make so that the game feels more unique and the weapons that you pick up don't feel boring and just like they're just another weapon that you pick up and you just instantly delete it. Like blues, legendaries, you know, maybe there will be a legendary weapon that you would have thrown away. Like there's a bunch of legendary weapons that as soon as I see them, I just toss. The fusion rifle from this season of the Lost, could actually be really good now with these fusion changes. So really excited. The other thing is some of you may be watching this in a different moment in time. Like YouTube takes a little while to catch up with everything. So it's possible that you may be at a different point in where we're at least the stream would be. So yeah, go from there. So will the shelf perks be taken off the weapons I already have? That's a good question. I don't think that they answered that. I think that they're going to leave. Let me see specifically what they say. So that's a great question. So that's down here in this section. I don't think that they said that they're going to remove them. Let me look here. Occasionally we'll shelve perks because they're not working for some reason. This means we won't put them on weapons in the future unless we change the perks. In many cases, we'd rather put design work into new perks than old ones, but there's a whole perk section here. These perks are shelved. No, they won't be taking them off because I know that some people still have an air assault Austringer. So they're not going to remove them from weapons. They're just not going to put them on any new ones. That's how the way I'm reading this. He may want to clarify that again. So that's good. Pursuit Shoddy and no backup plan Titans are going to run rampant in Crucible. Yeah, I think that shotgun, one of the reasons why they're nerfing Chaperone and Duality specifically so that weapon can have a moment to shine. I specifically think that that's one of the reasons they got rid of that. Plus the fact that Chaperone is absolutely ridiculous right now. Duality is strong in the right hands, but there's a skill-based factor to it as well. Every time a content creator tells me to sub, I walk away. Okay, bye. Is stacking Xur paracausal boxes worth it while saving for Witch Queen? Yes, I think it would be. I think that a couple people said that it was a broken Witch Queen strat. The thing that's going to be nice is that you're going to have a bunch of weapons that could potentially drop at your power level. So when you're stacking all your blues and all your weapons together, say for example, you need to get a specific weapon in a specific slot in, like, say for example, a heavy weapon, you know that there's at least 2 heavy weapons in that paracausal boxes from Xur, so that could be really good. Again, guys, I just say that because it's a call to action. That's all it is. So the whole like button thing, it's just what I ask. It's like what everyone does. I mean, Astacross does it. What do you think he says at the end of all his videos? So it's all good. This is the new TWAB. This is a new TWAB. This is a wild stretch you're reaching, bro. I know, man. I remember when they changed my Dragonfly cold fronts. Yeah, I definitely mean. What do they mean by shelving perks? They get removed, so my Guard Infusion will have 1 perk. Oof. I think that they mean that they're not going to bring it out on any more weapons. Now, if they say that they're going to shelve it, I might actually tweet it DMG specifically to ask that question. What do you mean by shelving? Because there are many weapons that could shelve perks, but I don't think they mean they're going to take them away. They say shelve them. Again, this is an incredibly long TWAB. This is incredibly detailed. So them missing something specifically here. But to me, this is what I read. This means we won't put them on weapons in the future unless we change the perk. In many cases, we'd rather put design work into new perks than old ones. But there's a whole perks section here. Anyway, these perks are shelved. Some have been shelved for a while. So I do not believe that they are going to take them from your weapon. I think that they are going to not put them on any more new weapons. Like, so we won't see Underdog. We won't see a Shield Disorient. We won't see Air Assault. We won't see Bottomless Grief and Celerity specifically because those are going to be the origin traits. Outbreak being amazing. Outbreak could be fantastic in PvE. Outbreak could be absolutely fantastic. Think about that, guys. So I honestly think that Outbreak could be a meta weapon in PvE content, at least. So we go to the exotic pieces here. Exotic primary weapons and trace rifles. So if you think about Outbreak and its damage potential, like 40% is not a small thing. It is a very massive buff. Spar says they shelved perks before, and I don't think they took them off the guns. Correct. Yep. I know people who still have Air Assault on an Austringer, so they shelved them, but they didn't get rid of them. By the way, Kitch, thank you for the $5 super chat. Do definitely appreciate it, man. Kajuma says, am I the only one that didn't know you streamed on YouTube? I rarely do it, but this is a mega TWAB, and I don't want this to get swallowed up by a lot of the other content creators that are working on massive videos. I want to be able to go through it bit by bit, talk to you folks who are on YouTube, because I want to reach out to you folks too. Tikus should be fun now. Yeah, I think Tikus will be really, really fun. I mean, it's an exotic primary. They've done a smart change. The increased damage versus miners. That's going to be huge. The trial shotgun, they took the quick draw perk from it. Yeah, but they replaced it with something else. So I don't, if they say they're going to take a perk away, they usually say they're going to replace it with something else. So that's one of the reasons why I don't think that they're going to take it away or change it. I think that they're just going to remove them from future weapons so that there's a little bit more breathing room for new perks to come out. That's the way that I read that, chat, specifically about that piece. Okay, I see this as, this means we won't put them on weapons in the future. To me, that is the intent of this column. Trinity Ghoul should also be quite fun. Oh, Trinity Ghoul is going to be absolutely insane. Just absolutely insane. Did we see crafting? Yes, guys. I read through it earlier, but if you're just joining us, here's the TLDR. When you get a weapon, you're going to be looking for patterns, right? So the pattern is here. Once you've earned a pattern, it can be crafted at any time with required materials. So basically, you go out, you find a weapon, and then you need different materials to get that. After reaching the Enclave, which is where you craft your weapons, and crafting your first glaive, randomly rolled weapons throughout the game have a chance to drop with the Deepsight Resonance. Okay, so if you look here, these red boxes here, that's the Deepsight Resonance perk. Okay, it's not a perk, it's an ability, I guess. It's a weapon ability, Deepsight Resonance. So this will be used as you begin to target specific traits to craft. You can complete an objective and extract the essence of the perk to then craft a weapon with Rampage or another perk that increases damage. So what's going to happen is, say for example, you've got Rampage. A weapon possesses a resonance that is detectable by your Deepsight ability. When you use that weapon, you basically use that weapon until you want to pull that actual essence from it and then put it in a different weapon. So you work on it a little bit. You kill enemies with it, which is fine. We'll have plenty of enemies to kill in Witch Queen. So here they've completed it, and then you can extract the resonance elements from the weapon. I also want to see what that different perk is here. So very cool. I'd love to see that. Like current weapons, not every weapon pattern will be compatible with every trait. So in other words, there will be some, you can't put, you won't be able to put Headstone necessarily on a arc weapon, because Headstone is an intrinsic perk to stasis. So that's an example. Okay. Fighting Line Void 3.0, definitely. Yeah, damn the DMT nerf though. To be fair, it's insanely powerful. It is one of those things that I know the community has been talking about for a while. They brought it up in the 30th anniversary edition. They brought the aim assist up just a little bit on controllers, but it did see a little bit of a buff. I don't know if it was the aim assist cone, but it did see a little bit of a buff that happened specifically on mouse keyboard too. So it's strong over here too. I play on mouse keyboard. I used to be a controller player, but I moved on over. Yep, and Time Splitter's 100% right here. The only weapons that are going to be able to be crafted right now, guys, so the weapon crafting pieces that we have here, not every weapon is going to be able to be crafted right away. The weapons specifically that they're going to be able to craft are the raid weapons, the Season 16 weapons, and the expansion weapons. So those three sets are what we're going to see. So what I love about this is that they're going to make it so the weapons feel unique. I love that, especially with the traits, being able to reshape weapons, mementos, exotic crafting for your glaives. So these are exotic glaives, it looks like. These look like exotic glaives. These aren't normal, just legendary glaives. So that's one thing. It's so huge. They explain the pursuit weapons really well here, and I think that that's a good job. But again, this shotgun's going to be really good. Yeah, guys, so this is one of the reasons I have not made a weapons. So, you know, a lot of other content creators have made these top 10 weapons to get before Witch Queen. Yeah, a lot of that changed, and I knew that's one reason you did not see it from me, is because I knew something like this was going to come out. So now they're going to have to go remake their video. I'm going to be able to be like right on the forefront because I knew some of these changes were happening. So I'll be able to make that video, the weapons you should be chasing, because there are a whole slew of weapons now that are going to be really good to get. So really nice. We've been talking about the difficulty of making different weapons feel unique. I love that. I love that the fact that all of these perks are really interesting, chat, and we're good. Are there legendary glaives coming as well? I think so. I think there's going to be legendary and exotics. So the exotic weapons, the exotic glaives are going to have these intrinsic perks to Warlock, Titan, and Hunter. So when does the video come out? I'll have that video come out later. Guys, I don't want this video to go on too long, because when it does, how long have we been streaming? I might just need to just like say we're just going to do a live stream. We're just live streaming and we're just getting our takes. Just be nice to be able to create some sort of god roll weapon instead of spending hours grinding for the drop. I completely agree. You pointed out the Deepsight Resonance border color on the weapon. That red matches some of the red blocks on the crafting table. Maybe the other colors are different types of weapon specific. That could be. That could absolutely be. That's an interesting idea. That's a great idea. The seasonal artifact kind of looks like a glaive. To me, it looks like a, yeah, it could be. Maybe your glaive is that weapon. Yeah, guys, so there's the seasonal artifact. Give my Haka a half dance. Yeah, I'm really excited for all of the different weapon types to come out. So if you guys did not hear earlier, having something that's really nice along in this whole deal is just being able to have all of these weapons back. One of the things that was really unique about Destiny 1, if you did not play, if you're a Destiny 2 player only, was when they started to do a thing called Arms Day, where the gunsmith would actually sell unique weapons that you could basically like do bounties for. And there were all these weapons that you could get that were really fun to use. That's where, I don't think that's where Hung Jury came from. Hung Jury was specifically a dead orbit pickup. But there was other Hung Jury weapons that, or not Hung Jury, excuse me, Amalon weapons that were very much in that whole archetype. Haka has more of like a military-esque kind of like big damage feel, whereas Amalon feels very futuristic. Suro's smooth, like Suro's regime, like smooth, sort of futuristic cutting tech, and Vice is just keep shooting all the time. So very cool. Looks like a piece of a trident. Yeah, the seasonal artifact looks like a trident for some reason. So when you say raid weapons, that does include past and with Witch Queen? No, it is specifically going to be the Witch Queen raid weapons. Those will be able, apparently that's what they said, I believe back in the reveal, to be one of the sets of weapons that you can do and that you can craft. The idea here, guys, is that you don't just craft your weapons, you can reshape them too. So this is much more to me about being able to put your own identity and spin on a weapon. Obviously, they're going to probably break some stuff. They're probably going to break some bones here. They're going to have to... There's a lot of things in this weapon archetype that are going to change. This is the biggest update we've seen to weapons probably since... Might even be more than Forsaken. It might be the most revolutionary since Taken King. Could be. Looking forward to the Amalon. Used to do great. Oh yeah, D1 was so good. It was so good. So guys, if you're worried about getting DMT or Hawkmoon, this is something I'm covering in my weapons video and also how to prep for Witch Queen specifically. One of the things that you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to go to Xur and you're going to be able to pick up random rolls. That being said, if you want to get ahead of the curve, one of the things you can do is you can go do Presage or you can do Harbinger right now. Get the weapons that you want, and then if you want to get the Catalyst too, that's a really good recommendation. Get those things taken care of now so you can experience the new content. You can get into this. That's actually one of the big takeaways from this. So remember, Xur will sell that, but it will be expensive to get a different role. You'll need to have an Ascendant Shard, a bunch of Glimmer, and a bunch... It's basically like a Trials weapon that you pick up from Saint 14 that you focus, but instead of just using legendary shards and then Glimmer, you have to use an Ascendant Shard too. So it's actually pretty huge. Will Icebreaker come back? They have not said anything. I would love if Icebreaker came back, but if Icebreaker came back, chat, it would have to fundamentally change. I think an interesting way to change Icebreaker to make it fit. The problem is that it generates ammo, right? So you just change it so any weapon, any enemies that it kills, like say, for example, the explosive part of it, that's the whole point of Icebreaker is it's explosive. It can blow up enemies really well. It's like Firefly on steroids. One of the things you could do to it is just when you kill a mob of enemies, based on the number of enemies, like make that generate ammo. And basically, like if you kill 5 enemies or more, it regenerates a shot of ammo. That way it's not overpowered in PvP. That way it's still fun to use in PvE, which is very much the tack that they're taking there. You know, they're taking in the game specifically right here. Need vault space? True. Now, this is one thing, chat. This is one thing I'd recommend is don't delete your stuff yet. Wait until Witch Queen comes out because you're going to be able to upgrade the gunsmith. So a lot of people have cleared out their vaults and there's been a whole lot of like, oh, Dado, roast my vault and stuff like that. Here's the thing. Anything that you delete is going to help you get gunsmith reputation. So if you save your armor and weapons that you kind of want to toss, obviously, if you've got too many weapons to hold on to, like, yeah, just don't go through it. Yeah. Just hold on to them for a little bit. Don't bin your weapons until the expansion happens. There's nothing wrong with like taking a second and going through your gear and being like, okay, I could keep this and just see how things pan out. Is there info yet on a perk selection? Is it any weapon or just new special weapons? Perk selection. They've specifically talked about how you can go through here and use your Deepsight resonance here to basically suck the essence. When they say essence, it's basically take that perk and then pull it from that weapon. And so it seems like if you want to take Rampage, this is what I'm reading here. If you want to take Rampage from a gun, right? If you want to take Rampage from a weapon specifically, let's say, for example, you want Rampage. This is one way to do it without having like a Rampage mod or like an Underdog mod or like a Firefly mod. They're basically making it so any perk that you want to pull off of a weapon, first of all, it has to be that Deepsight Resonance perk. It has to have that essence, which is the red border here, chat, or the orangish border. It's kind of like red-orange to me. You have to have that perk on there, and then you use the perk until you've extracted its essence. And then once you've gotten that essence, then you can take it from that weapon and put it on another weapon. That is what I am reading. So would love to be able to see to craft gear. That's the real need equals vault space. I want to say that they have said something that they are looking at it in the future. And here's the other thing to think about, chat. Here's the other thing to think about with vault space. I think that we all forget this. Like this is still so fresh that we don't think about this. If you guys don't think that the Destiny universe is going to blow up, it's going to blow up. Like, there is a reason why Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith are not developing the game anymore. They are looking at bringing TV shows. They're looking at bringing a universe, multiple games that are live service games in conjunction with PlayStation. So it's more of, they say it's a partnership. PlayStation did buy them, but it's not like PlayStation is like going to buy them and then they're going to impose their will on it. They're basically, Bungie needs resources to continue to do what they want to do. And PlayStation's going to have it, right? But PlayStation is going to want to make their money back, but they're going to get it back because I have talked about this on stream before. The vanguard of their streaming service is Project Spartacus, which is kind of like their Game Pass competitor. I guarantee Destiny will be on that. Guarantee it. It will be the vanguard of that whole piece. There's a reason why it's not on Game Pass anymore. It hasn't been on Game Pass since December. There's a reason why. So that's one reason. The other thing is like, it could be that we get more server space now with all these additions. And again, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that this is what I see in the future. I'm not like casting like this is going to be good, this is going to be bad. I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But again, chat, I just want to get your takes. I want to talk to you a little bit. I want to reach out to my YouTube community because I definitely post a lot of videos on YouTube, a lot of guides and stuff like that, but I haven't had a stream with you in a while. I miss you. I miss you. So I want to say hi and be like, what's going on? Does Aegis get the 40% buff too? No, it is not a primary weapon. Oh, wait. No, it's not a primary weapon. Doesn't it use special? It uses special ammo, I'm pretty sure. They're really chomping at the bit for a subscription, but I bet they're definitely afraid of doing it. People want an MMO level, but not pay a sub. See, I'm not talking specifically about a subscription. I'm talking about Game Pass. So if you guys don't remember, Game Pass, Beyond Light and the whole Destiny like universe was on Game Pass, right? And I know a lot of people in the Xbox community, when December hit and Xbox Game Pass no longer carried it, it was a year-long agreement. A lot of people were miffed at that, and I get it. But now that Sony owns them, they're going to have a Game Pass competitor because that's the land space. It's not about the console wars about them. But like, who cares who sells the most consoles? That's why Microsoft specifically bought all those studios. It's so that they can make money. They don't care about you know where a lot of the market is. Imagine you're Microsoft and you want to get more money. You want to get more market share. But there's another console in the way. Just buy the studios that are producing the games on that console. Easy. So that makes you more money. It's still on PC Game Pass. Very true. I think I said Xbox Game Pass. Just confirming. That's why I said Xbox Game Pass. So is there any weapons I should farm for? I'm going to have a complete guide on all the weapons you should farm for. That is one of the reasons why I did not make a video yet. Quick hot take, the things I would just really quickly off the cuff, weapons to hunt for, definitely be looking at Huckleberry. Outbreak is going to be fantastic. I think Trinity Ghoul, Le Monarch. I cannot, all right, that's one thing I'm going to say, chat. I cannot believe that they did not say anything about Le Monarch. I'm very surprised. I'm very, very surprised. I'm going to go through here again. I didn't miss a perk about it, right? because Le Monarch is kind of becoming almost absolutely insane. They said something about DMT and PvP. Le Monarch is great in PvE. Let me just be clear. I love Le Monarch. It's one of my favorite. I've been using Le Monarch and a hand cannon and an SMG for like 2 years since it came out. I've been using, so what was that? Black Armory. I've been using those for 2 years, and people are just like, oh yeah, it's really strong. It's like, yep, it's really strong. Exotic traces are getting the buff too. Ah, very good point. You are right. You are 100% right. Thank you. Let's see, where are you at? Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it. Thank you. You're very, yeah. I mean, yeah. Then if that's the case, then yeah, Aegers is going to get the 40% buff too. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, there's a lot of weapons I would start to look for. All right, guys, I'm going to come out of here. I'm going to load up my Destiny, and we'll go really quickly through just quick weapons that I'd go through. Can't wait till Witch Queen. Oh, it's going to be insane, chat. I'm going to load up Destiny, and we'll can just continue talking about it. So, spears are specials. 3 exotics, 1 for each class, and legendary included. So I feel like we'll see them a lot. I'm really excited to use them. I'm really excited for a new weapon. I like the idea of a melee weapon class, like a spear, because it's essentially what that is. It's a spear, but then you fire things with it. It's a spear, and then you fire projectiles from it. That's all it is, which is really cool. I like it. Let's see. Right off the cuff, a fusion rifle that you all should get specifically is the one from the Season of the Lost, because they're buffing how those high impacts make a difference, right? So if we go down here, let's see, we've got the fusion rifles. Yeah, the Season 15 fusion rifle. They've increased high impact fusion rifle damage per bolt from 62 to 64. So yeah, Stasis Warlock with Aegers will be baller. Oh, 100%. Hawk Moon will be awesome with Lucky Pants. It's already pretty darn good. It's already pretty darn good. I can't read your name. I see Ace, but I think it's a Russian name. Yeah, I lost a lot of friends from the Game Pass removal. It's a bummer, but I kind of foresaw something like that happening. What's up, Mano? I just got off work. What are we talking about in here? There was a massive TWAB, so we went through that together. Again, I'm going to leave this up here as long as YouTube generates it, but it may take YouTube a while to generate this video and put it up. So I might just make this kind of like a quick stream that we're going to do. I am going to stream a little bit later on, chat, today. By the way, if you are someone who came over from the stream and helped out with the Game to Give campaign, thank you so much. This was the reward that I was able to receive, being the head of the team and doing that. So it's a really cool emblem. There's only maybe like 200, 300 of them in the wild, which is really great. So thank you if you came and you donated. So off the cuff, what are some weapons that I would hunt for? I would just really quickly, DMT isn't going to be terrible, but it's not going to be as good as it used to be. It's just not going to be. Lowering the fire rate when you're in your hip fire stance is going to be crazy. What's your thoughts on well builds next year? They're going to be nuts. You need to make sure, that's actually one of the things in my prep video, is you need to make sure that you go pick up all of the wells, especially if you're a newer or mid-tier player that's maybe coming back into the game. You need to go back in and get all of those helm well builds and stuff like that. So huge. What's a TWAB? TWAB is short for This Week at Bungie. So that's what a TWAB is. So very good question, chat. Very good question. Okay. What are some weapons I would look for? All right. We'll go through my vault, and I'll kind of give you, because I basically try to get one of every weapon except if it's absolute garbage. If it's absolute garbage, I toss it. Oh man, I've got so many. Ace of Spades. Gonna be very, very good. Very, very good. Especially, I could see it being really good in PvE. The thing is, if you can get a Fatebringer Time Lost, it's great. You just have to use an exotic right here. Witherhoard is still going to be amazing. Thorn is going to be Thorn. Thorn is not going to change. Hawkmoon is going to be good. Dead Man's Tail is not going to be as strong as it was. This is the best fusion rifle in the game, chat. Right here. I've talked about it on my Twitch streams. This is the best fusion rifle in the game if you can get these perks on them. It is. I have been on stream and I've gone against Timelines, Vertex, Main Ingredients. I have annihilated them. Now, it does require a more aggressive playstyle, but if you can do that, this is the one you want. There's the one from the moon, too. The Monarch is still really strong. Divinity could actually see more use outside of its just like stunning enemies piece. Like this could actually be really good because you can use this on miners now because it's a 40% damage nerf or damage buff, excuse me. Right? So that could actually see more of that. What's up, Smooth Papa? Anybody else getting buffering issues? I'm not sure. I'm just looking here. This is one of the reasons, guys, why I try to stream on Twitch more than YouTube. It's much more of a smoother experience. So if you're having some issues, we will kind of just play through it and to see how the video looks. What are some other weapons I'd pick up? Pulses could be really strong. BX, this is going to be an amazing weapon, chat. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'm going to log off here. I'm not sure why YouTube is buffering, but let's see if that helps. Let's do this instead. Can I do dim? Let's do dim. See if that helps. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. Just checking for a second, chat. We'll hop off of Destiny and see if that helps. What about the last word? I think the last word's going to be the last word. Still insanely strong in PV in PvP for controller players. I don't do raids. That's okay. I was, but dropped quality to 720. Works fine now. I'm not sure why that is. YouTube has a lot of streaming issues that they need to sort out. If you're not like a huge major partner with them, they kind of bring you down a bit, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I've tried to bring the. Let me just look here real quick. General. Yeah, guys, I'm going to just try and bring it down a little bit, see if that helps. See if that kind of stabilizes it. Iota Draconis will be good, guys. Again, I'm not sure why YouTube is having some major fluctuations today, chat, so I apologize about that. Yeah. If I just purchased the game and started playing, I have a hunter at level 1100 from playing. What should I be doing? I'll have a complete guide for you this weekend, guys. I'll have a complete guide for you. I'm kind of waiting, hoping that YouTube figures it out. This is nothing on my end. Like my stream has not changed settings once. So this is something on YouTube's end. Refreshing the page. Refresh the page, chat. Right at 480. Yeah, again, I don't know why they're having issues, but this is not something on my side, guys. I don't want to talk about it too much. I'll have to optimize this a little bit better, but yeah, they definitely should be. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Yeah, we'll just keep going. Hopefully it kind of smooths out. So anyways, yeah, the hipfire buff is going to get through. Yeah, it's going to be great. Weapons I would hunt for. I would definitely make sure you get Forerunner, especially if you play PvP. Definitely want to get Vigilance Wing. You definitely want to get Outbreak. I think No Time to Explain is also going to be absolutely nuts. When is the TWAB? TWAB is already out. So what else? There's a whole lot of things in here. Tiku's is going to be nuts. Trinity Ghoul is going to be good. Another weapon that if you've got in your vault that you might want to take a look at is Exile's Curse. Could be really, really solid. The SMG does have headstone, so that's going to be interesting. If you guys didn't see, that definitely is going to get headstone, so I'm excited for that. Yeah, the SMG with headstone. I love how they just put that little tiny perk in there that's just a little bit different. So, yeah. Seems better now? Awesome, guys. Thank you. Yeah, there is an SMG that has headstone, so I'm actually pretty excited about that. You had the same problem? It's fine now? Yeah, I just need to not turn on Destiny, because apparently that screws up the page for YouTube. So, yeah. Other weapons I'd be looking for, specifically. Let's see. The other weapons I'd specifically be looking for, let's see. Snipers are going to be interesting now because you might actually get a little bit more use out of the lower rate or the higher rate of fire ones, as they tend to have like shorter scopes. So you could definitely be looking at that. Other weapons to be looking for, if you have a tap the trigger main ingredient, you may want to try and find a different one. Hipfire grip with this is going to be nuts, except that I have liquid coils on that and I don't want that. Let's see. This one has firmly planted snapshot. Will be good. Swords. Eager edge is not going to be as strong as it once was. Hot takes coming in. Seems like it's working better now. Awesome, guys. Thank you. So, not sure why that is stream, but it is what it is. Yeah, the weapons I would be hunting for specifically, I'll be putting in a video. I'm going to list every single one just off the cuff. Definitely make sure you get Wither Horde. Make sure, let's see. I wonder if I've got a way to show you guys. Actually, Braytech, guys, is another thing that you can check out and see what's going on. Hey, guys, I haven't played Destiny in a while. What is meta right now? If you are looking to get into the game right now, the meta is very much Dead Man's Tale, fusion rifles, some pulse rifles on long range maps. If you're talking about PvP, Ace of Spades is always very strong. Some shotguns are seeing a lot of use, especially Chaperone and a couple of legendaries. Retold Tale is another one you guys should definitely look at. I'd definitely be making sure you check things out with that. A couple other weapons to check out and look for. Something like rocket launchers are going to get a little bit more damage. So I definitely see rocket launchers being, I talked about Argent Ordnance in a video earlier. I said you need to get this mod now. With the buff to rocket launchers, I think that they're going to see some more usage. I think Graviton Lance is also going to be oh, I forgot. You're right. Graviton Lance, especially against like mid-tier enemies. Oh, it's going to be great. No time and a Warlock turret grenades is going to be so fun. Yeah, really good. What's the red dot postmaster? What's the red dot on the postmaster weapons in Dim? The red dot. Oh, these are things I haven't picked up yet. I haven't looked at them yet. Like, if you look here, guys, this is a good question. So if you're using Destiny Inventory Manager, there's a couple of little dots that can kind of show you, like, what you've looked at. Like, so, like, you see how I select this? It goes away. That's what it is. I need to delete that. I don't know why that's there. But these are a bunch of weapons that are just in my postmaster that I need to delete, or I was waiting for this TWAB specifically to kind of start to look at these weapons. If there was a legendary pulse, I'd say definitely get a BXR 55 battler. Get one with the kill clip. It's going to be nuts. So good. Good questions, though. Good questions. I still say get that bow. I had a lot of people yelling at me about getting that bow. I'll try to, whenever I see a weapon that I think is going to be absolutely insane, I will try to always make just a quick 1-minute video for you folks to know to go pick it up. I will try not to waste your time. The views on that have been absolutely nuts. It's not clickbait. It's definitely just me trying to be like, you need this weapon. You need this thing. Couple other things to look for. Charge Harvester. You know, I want you to be prepared when Witch Queen comes out. Charge Harvester, Argent Ordnance, Lucent Blade. Lucent Blade has only been sold 3 times from the Gunsmith in a year. So whenever that goes live, I'll let you know. Okay. So, yeah, tons of reasons to get into Destiny. Fusion rifles, unfortunately, are not going to be as strong as they were. I think it's going to be rocket launchers. I'm pretty sure it's going to be rocket launchers, chat. I'm excited. Your thoughts on my thoughts. What do you guys think? How often does the meta change? Well, they'll do tuning when things get really out of line. When things are really out of line, they're like, yeah. Something you're going to want to check out tonight, guys, is we're going to talk on stream. We're going to be checking out some of these weapons live when I'm playing on Twitch. So if you guys haven't seen my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/manodestra, that's where I primarily stream. I use YouTube as kind of like my way to get content out to you. That's like stable videos and stuff like that. So if you're not following over there, please make sure you do. If you don't do raids, say for example, you need Dead Man's Tale, you need a Hawk Moon or something like that, come check out the Twitch channel. We do those things all the time. We help people out all the time. I used to do them all the time on YouTube, but more people have just migrated over to Twitch. So come over there and say hi. With the primary buff, Hardlight might be good again. It'll be good in PvE. It won't be good in PvP like it once was. They threw that in the ground, so unfortunately. So Trying to ask any other questions. It's working better now. Yeah. When's the TWAB? TWAB is already out, guys. So I'm going to link the TWAB here, chat. If you have not seen it, if you want to read through it, go through it. I'm going to put it in a bunch of... We're going to put it in a couple of times here so y'all know what is going on. And you're good to go. I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff, guys. This is going to be the... And I said it... I think it's going to be bigger than Forsaken in terms of the way the game feels, not necessarily the content. So the content is going to be a little bit smaller than Forsaken. And I agree with that. I think that that's what it's going to see. But the way that the game feels is going to fundamentally change. Like, fundamentally. Void 3.0, I think, is going to be a game changer. I think that a lot of people don't understand how much of a change that's going to bring. So, if you haven't seen it, there's a couple of videos, a couple of things that they've talked about in the way that they're going to change things. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Yep, double check Banshee on Wednesday because the roles reset. Very true. Yep, and I tried to call that out on my video and other people kind of gave me a hard time for it. Russell says Arsenic Bite with Rampage and Explosive Tip, my absolute favorite. That's what she said. GJALLARHORN with the mod for extra damage is going to be nutty. Yes, it's going to be great. Hey, do you know if the new exotic SMG is only available through pre-order or can you get it in-game? I believe when you go to the Witch Queen website, it shows it as... Let me actually go here. Yeah, and now the bitrate is excellent. I love it. I believe it's something that only comes with the bundle or the deluxe edition. The standard, I believe the idea here is that this is a season pass weapon. There's going to be 2 season pass weapons. So I'm going to watch the trailer too so you guys understand what's going on. There's a couple of changes here. And we talked about this on Twitch last night too. Or 2 nights ago. So we're going to turn the volume down here so we don't have any issues here. Okay. So when you go here and you look at these different weapons, there you'll notice that some of them say different things. Do you see that there's a thing that says season pass required down underneath here? You see this? Season pass required. I think that this is going to be a Rasputin weapon that we go hunt for. This missile launcher essentially was what it is. This Grand Overture. Now, why is it called Grand Overture? And why do I think that has to do with Rasputin? If you don't know, Rasputin is very tied into music. He plays Russian, like Tchaikovsky and things like that. Grand Overture, musical term, right here. It looks like a Rasputin Warmind weapon. Very much so. So if you have not seen that, you'll notice that it says Season Pass required, right? Here's the deal. It's a season pass required weapon. It's going to be like Harbinger or Presage. It's going to be probably a mission or a quest that we do past Witch Queen. That's what that will be. I think that the weapon that you get specifically from the season pass, though, is going to be this. Now, here's the reason why I think that. The standard edition does not come with a season pass. It just comes with the expansion. So, campaign, raid, new destinations, weapons, weapon crafting, all that stuff, okay? So that's that. The deluxe edition, which is going to have the season passes in them, is going to have that as well. So I believe that it's going to be, if you want to get it at the drop, get it through the deluxe edition or buy the season pass. I believe that will get you what you need. Y'all waiting on the TWAB? No, the TWAB is out. TWAB is out. We've been reading it. The TWAB is out. I'll post it into chat again, guys. Just followed your Twitch. Excited to see what your stream is all about later. Thanks for the YouTube vids. Thanks so much. That was very kind of you to say. Will Grasp of Avarice go when Witch Queen drops? No, it's going to be around for another year, at least. I don't think that they're going to vault the 30th anniversary stuff. So... I missed the answer on where to farm that fusion. You have... Oh, I apologize. The fusion rifle that I believe, and I have shown it in stream a couple of times, the best in the game is this thing called Zealot's Reward. It is from the Garden of Salvation raid from the first encounter specifically. I honestly believe that it is the best fusion rifle as long as you play with an aggressive play style. When you use something like Timeline's Vertex or Main Ingredient, you're very much like waiting for the other players to push up. Whereas this you can push up and get the engagement done before they can even charge. You have to be aggressive with it though. There are times you can be a little bit more passive with it, but if they're walking backwards and you're moving forwards, sometimes not all the bolts will hit. That's kind of how the whole, like, think of the two characters as being like two balls connected by string. Is if one ball is moving this way and the other one's moving this way, like the momentum doesn't carry. But if you've got a shotgun runner coming at you, their momentum will carry forward and you come at them this way with the fusion rifle, they're done. I've killed so many people. I've killed people with eager edge. Here, I might even be able to pull it up for you. Let's see if I can find some. I've got some replays of videos. Yeah, here you go. So, yeah, Zealot's Reward. So this is the fusion rifle. See, he tried to get the melee kill. Look at that distance.
Double down. Finish them.
Insane. So that's crazy there. Let's see what else I have. Oh, Zealot's Reward again. Here I was out of position. I shouldn't have gone that far out. Right there. You see how good that was? Hold on. Do you see how good this fusion rifle is? He tried to eager edge me, and I beat him with this fusion rifle. Just watch this again. This is insane. This is how good this fusion rifle is. But you have to play aggressively, and you have to nail all your bolts. If you miss your bolts, you're probably going to have to recharge and do it again. But here you go. He's going to try and eager edge me, and I wrecked him. Like, it's so good. And people are sleeping on it. People are sleeping on it. But it does come from a raid, and I get that. Let's see if I can find another eager edge. Zealots End Match. So here you go. Using Thorn in this together, just absolutely insane. They said the 30th anniversary is staying. Yep. Yep. Now here, I kind of screw up my movement. But you see how he screwed up? He's trying to recharge it again. I screwed up my movement and he slid past me. I tried to freeze him and get him. He could have killed me, but because he was charging his fusion rifle, watch this. He's trying to charge up his fusion rifle. And by the time he's trying to do that, he's already dead. Which exotics will go away when Witch Queen comes out? As far as I know, the only ones that are going away are potentially the mission for Chaperone, the Dead Man's Tale mission, and then the mission for Harbinger for Hawkmoon. And of course the season pass exotics. So if you don't have the season pass, Tiku's Divination, Lawrence Driver, I'm trying to remember all the season of the hunt ones. So, but I mean, you can go get those weapons from the exotic kiosk, and then also from Xur. Hawkmoon and DMT specifically will be available from Xur. No, I mean, No Time was a pre-order bonus and you only got it from the deluxe edition. I believe that they're going to put it specifically in the kiosk when the next season comes. That's a good question though. They need to clarify No Time to explain, because it's a baller rifle. It's a baller rifle. So I heard something about Xur frequently selling DMT after Witch Queen drops. Will that be an everyday thing or once in a great while? No. What will happen is you know how you can go in and you can pick up an exotic cipher from Xur? He will have an option for you to select the Dead Man's Tale and the Hawkmoon every single time you come on in. You'll be able to like go in and say, oh, I want my roll of DMT. It's expensive. I want my roll of Hawkmoon. That's what it's going to be like. Okay. What fusion rifle is that? It's Zealot's Reward. It's from the Garden of Salvation. And what rolls on it? High impact reserves under pressure, which is definitely the role you want to have. If you want to check out some different roles, D2 Gunsmith is definitely a place you want to check it up. Yeah, it's buffering again, chat. I might have to call the stream here in a little bit, just because, yeah, my video is going just like I haven't changed anything, so I'm not sure. Zealot's Reward. I have one of those with liquid coils. Is it any good on that frame or no? Since it's specifically supposed to be a faster rapid fire, I would not put liquid coils on that, because you want to not necessarily change the impact time. You want to increase the charge rate. I have one specifically that has projection fuse, under pressure, and high impact reserves. Just that little high impact reserves plus the accelerate, not the accelerated coil, the charge time masterwork up to 10. Even though the impact is not as strong, it's enough to kill a Guardian. But the range is nutty, right? Do you think we'll be able to craft Hawkmoon or DMTs? No. No. Yep. Jam, I hear you, bud. I hear you, guys. Guys, I'm not sure why YouTube is struggling today. I'm going to write this into chat too. I don't know why YouTube streams are struggling today. I can look at the settings. But for now, I'm going to end it there. To end it there. I'm going to go over to Twitch. I'm going to eat some dinner. I'm going to eat some lunch. I'm going to come back. We can talk about all the changes on Twitch. Again, I'm not trying to bring everyone over to Twitch. If you don't like Twitch, not a big deal. It's where I primarily stream. You want to come over and say hi. But again, that's where we do most of our helps. I'll see if I can figure out some stuff that's going on here with YouTube, and we'll be going for it. But I've got a couple of guides coming out this weekend. We've got the weapons. I knew that this was going to drop, so I knew that the weapons